My friends, tonight I want to speak to you about freedom, real freedom. Not the kind the world offers, not the fleeting excitement of possessions or recognition, but the true liberty that comes when you remove from your life the things that silently steal your power. There are forces, habits, and attitudes that weigh you down, and until they are released, you cannot rise. So let us walk together through 11 things that must be quietly eliminated if you are to live in the fullness of your own divine power. When self-doubt. My friends, let us begin with the very first chain that must be broken, self-doubt. It hides in the shadows of your mind. It whispers in the quiet moments when you are about to step forward. It shows up just as the door of opportunity opens, and it convinces you to turn back. Self-doubt has robbed more dreams than failure ever has. Now I tell you this. Self-doubt is not the truth of who you are. It is not your natural state. You were not born doubting yourself. Watch a child take its first steps. The child does not question if it is worthy to walk. The child does not say, maybe walking is not for me. No, without hesitation, it rises, it falls. It rises again, till walking becomes natural. Self-doubt is learned, and what is learned can be unlearned. Let me ask you, how many times have you stopped yourself before even beginning? How many ideas have you buried because you said, I am not ready, or I am not good enough? The truth is you were ready the moment the idea came to you. The idea itself was proof of your readiness. For life never plants a seed in barren soil, but self-doubt comes disguised as reason. It says, be realistic. It says others are better, smarter, stronger. It says, wait until you are perfect. And so you wait. You wait while the years pass. You wait while the vision fades. You wait until the fire burns down to ash. I say to you tonight, enough of waiting, enough of shrinking in the face of your own potential. Self-doubt is nothing but a shadow, and shadows vanish the moment light is brought to them. So how do you eliminate it? First, recognize it. Call it by its name. Do not let it hide behind excuses. When you hear the voice that says, I can't, stop and ask, who is speaking? You will find it is not your true self, but an echo of the past. A teacher who told you to sit down, a parent who doubted their own worth, a failure you once experienced. But echoes are not the present. They are only reminders of old noise. Second, replace it. Every time self-doubt speaks, you must answer with certainty. When it says, you are not enough, you respond, I am more than enough. When it says you cannot, you declare, I already have. This is not pretending. This is reclaiming your authority. Third, act in spite of it. Do not wait for self-doubt to disappear before you move. It will never leave on its own. You must walk through it. Confidence is not the absence of doubt. Confidence is the decision to move even while doubt screams in your ear. And with every step you take, the voice grows weaker. Think of the countless people who changed the course of history. Do you believe they were free of self-doubt? No, they heard the same whispers you do. The difference is they did not obey. They stood in the face of it. They acted anyway. And in time the world remembered them not for their fear but for their courage. You too are capable of this. You too can silence the voice. Every invention, every creation, every song, every book, every movement that has ever shaped humanity began with one person daring to believe in themselves while the world doubted them. If they had surrendered to self-doubt, the world would be empty of their gift. And what of your gift? What is waiting inside you right now, unexpressed, because self-doubt has chained your hands? Do you not see? The world waits for what only you can bring. The world waits for your vision, your words, your work. So tonight I challenge you, eliminate self-doubt quietly but firmly. Do not announce it to the world. Do not argue with it endlessly. Just refuse to give it your energy. Each time it rises, let it pass like smoke in the air. Fix your eyes on the truth of who you are. Limitless, powerful, born for greatness. And when you stumble, as all do not let self-doubt rush back in to claim victory. Instead, stand tall and say, this stumble is not the end. It is the beginning of my strength. Because failure does not define you, only your persistence does. My friends, hear me clearly. The moment you release self-doubt, you reclaim your authority over life. You step into the power that was yours from the beginning. You stop asking, can I? And you begin declaring, I am. So rise, stand above the voice that has bound you for too long. Eliminate self-doubt, and you will see the doors open. Not because the world changed, but because you finally dared to walk through them. Tonight, take this first step and know this truth. You are ready. You are worthy. You are more powerful than you have ever allowed yourself to believe. Comparison. My friends, The second weight that must be lifted from your life is comparison. If self-doubt is the chain that binds your hands, comparison is the fog that blinds your eyes. It keeps you from seeing your own worth because you are too busy measuring yourself against another. Comparison whispers, look at them. They are ahead. They are stronger. They are richer. They are more talented than you. And slowly you begin to believe that your life, your gifts, your journey are somehow less. But hear me, comparison is a lie. No two lives are meant to look the same. The very fact that you exist proves that you carry something unique. And when you constantly look outward, you rob yourself of inward vision. You lose sight of what was planted in you because your eyes are fixed on what was planted in another. Think of the tree and the flower. The tree rises high, spreading wide branches, touching the sky. The flower blooms small, delicate, close to the earth. Now imagine the flower comparing itself to the tree. Why am I not tall? Why do I not tower above the ground? Or the tree saying, why am I not colorful? Why do I not bring fragrance? Both would live in misery, and yet both are perfect in their purpose. The tree provides shelter, the flower gives beauty, and the world is richer because both exist. So it is with you. You are not meant to look like another. You are not meant to walk their path. Your path is yours alone. But comparison is subtle. It creeps into your daily life without announcement. You scroll through pictures, you see success stories, and suddenly you feel behind. You watch another's progress, and suddenly your own seems small. But let me remind you, you are not behind. You are exactly where you are meant to be for this moment. The world has tricked you into believing that life is a race, that you must keep up, that success is measured by speed. But tell me, what is the prize for winning a race you were never meant to run? The only finish line that matters is the one drawn for you. When you compare, you dishonor your journey. You tell life what I have is not enough. But when you release comparison, you open your eyes to the blessings already present. Gratitude begins to flow. Peace begins to grow. And from that peace, your power multiplies. So how do you eliminate comparison? First, recognize that everyone shows the highlight reel, but hides the struggle. The one you envy for their wealth may carry loneliness. The one you admire for their beauty may battle insecurity. The one you think is strong may cry themselves to sleep. Do not assume you know the whole story. And if you must compare, compare with truth, not illusion. Second, shift your gaze inward. Instead of asking, why don't I have what they have? Ask, what have I been given that is mine to grow? Every person carries seeds of greatness, but those seeds only flourish when you water them. Stop watering another's garden. Nourish your own. Third, celebrate others without diminishing yourself. When you see someone rise, rejoice. Their success does not take from yours. The universe is not scarce. There is no shortage of opportunity, no shortage of abundance. One person's light does not dim another's. In fact, their light can inspire yours, if you allow it. And finally, measure only against yourself. Ask, am I stronger than I was yesterday? Am I more disciplined than I was last year? Am I growing in wisdom, in kindness, in courage? That is the only comparison that matters. Your only rival is who you were yesterday, and your only responsibility is to be greater today. Think of the artist who looks at the work of another and says, I will never be as great. That thought kills creativity. But the artist who looks at their own work from last year and says, I have grown, discovers joy. They keep creating, and in time their voice becomes unmistakable. The same is true for you. You have a voice no one else can copy. You have a rhythm no one else can dance. You have a journey no one else can walk. To compare is to abandon that journey. To eliminate comparison is to embrace your authenticity. Now let me tell you this. When you stop comparing, something shifts inside you. You stop rushing. You stop resenting. You stop questioning your worth. You begin to walk with confidence because you know that your life has meaning exactly as it is unfolding. You begin to realize that the goal is not to be better than them. The goal is to be the fullest version of you. And when you live like that, authentically, powerfully, without apology, you inspire others to do the same. Imagine a world where no one compares. Imagine a world where each person stood tall in their own gift, celebrated their own path, honored their own purpose. There would be no envy, no rivalry, only collaboration, only abundance. That world can begin with you. So tonight I invite you to quietly release the burden of comparison. Lay it down, not with resentment, not with force, but with peace. Let it slip from your shoulders and feel the freedom of walking your own path. And when you are tempted again, as you will be, Pause and remind yourself, their journey is theirs, my journey is mine. I am enough. I am becoming. Step by step you will rise, and in rising, you will discover that you were never behind, you were never less. You were always exactly who you needed to be. So eliminate comparison, and watch how the fog lifts, how the road clears, how joy returns. For when you stop looking outward, you finally see the greatness that has been within you all along. 3. Resentment. My friends, the third shadow that must be removed from your life is resentment. Resentment is heavy. It lingers long after the moment has passed, long after the words were spoken, long after the wound was made. It stays inside you, replaying the scene, keeping the pain alive and whispering, "They wronged me, and I will not forget." But let me tell you this truth. Resentment does not imprison the one who hurt you. It imprisons you. It does not chain their feet, it chains yours. It does not poison their heart, it poisons your own. Resentment is the silent thief of joy. It makes you relive the hurt again and again until the hurt becomes a home you cannot leave. And what is worse, it blinds you to the blessings of the present, because you are still staring at the injuries of the past. Now, I do not speak these words lightly. I know many of you have been wronged. Some of you have been betrayed by those you trusted. Some have been overlooked when you should have been honored. Some have been spoken against, rejected, abandoned, wounded in ways that words cannot fully express. I do not deny your pain, but I ask you this. Will you let the wound become your identity? Will you let the offense steal the years ahead of you? Resentment is the anchor that drags you back into the storm. Every time you try to move forward, it pulls you into yesterday. And so long as you hold it, you cannot step into tomorrow. So how do we release it? How do we let go of what feels unforgivable? First, understand this. Letting go of resentment does not mean excusing the wrong. It does not mean what they did was right. It does not mean you must return to the relationship or trust the one who broke you. No, letting go means you refuse to let the offense rule your spirit any longer. You take back your power. You decide, this wound will not define me. Second, see resentment for what it truly is. A chain that keeps you bound to the very person or situation you wish to escape. Every time you replay the offense, you bind yourself again. But when you release it, you cut the chain. You step into freedom. Third, replace resentment with gratitude. Not gratitude for the hurt, but gratitude for the strength you gained through it. Gratitude for the lessons you learned, the resilience you built, the wisdom you now carry. The offense may have wounded you, but it did not destroy you. You are still here. And that is proof of your power. Now listen closely. Forgiveness is not always a feeling. It is a choice. You may not feel ready. You may not feel peace, but forgiveness is not about waiting for the feeling. It is about deciding, I will no longer carry this weight. And as you decide, the feeling will follow. Think of a traveler carrying a heavy stone in his bag. At first he feels justified. I must carry this to remember the wrong. But as the miles go on, the stone grows heavier. His back bends, his feet slow, his breath shortens. Meanwhile, the one who wronged him walks freely, unburdened. Only when the traveler stops, opens his bag and drops the stone, does he discover what freedom feels like. That is resentment. It is the stone you carry that was never meant to be yours. And let us be honest, sometimes the one we resent is not another, but ourselves. We resent our own mistakes, our own failures, our own choices. We hold the past against ourselves, refusing to forgive, refusing to let go. But listen carefully. If you do not forgive yourself, you cannot move forward. You will remain trapped in the prison of your own judgment. So whether it is another person or your own reflection, release the resentment. Free them. Free yourself. Now you may ask, but how? How do I truly let it go? Begin by naming it. Speak it aloud. I release this hurt. I release this anger. I choose freedom. Do not bury it in silence, for buried resentment becomes bitterness. Bring it into the light and watch how its grip weakens. Then speak life into yourself. Each day remind yourself, I am free. I am not bound to the past. I am not defined by what was done to me, but by what I choose today. And most of all, redirect your energy. The time and thought you once gave to replaying the offense, give instead to building your vision, pursuing your purpose, nurturing your joy. Do not let resentment consume the space that was meant for creation. My friends, resentment is a thief, but it is a thief you can disarm. It does not need to stay. The moment you decide to let go, you take back the keys to your life. Do not carry into tomorrow what belongs to yesterday. Do not let one person's action write the story of your future. Do not let bitterness be the lens through which you see the world. For I tell you, the moment you release resentment, you will feel lighter. You will breathe easier. You will wake up with new energy. Because your soul will no longer be carrying a weight it was never meant to bear. And more than that, you will open yourself to joy again. Because resentment and joy cannot live in the same house. One must leave for the other to enter. Choose joy, choose freedom, choose peace. So tonight I ask you, what stone are you still carrying? Who do you need to release? Perhaps it is another. Perhaps it is yourself. Whoever it is, set them free. Quietly, gently, but firmly set them free. And as you do, you will discover that in setting them free, you have set yourself free as well. Eliminate resentment and step into the life that has been waiting for you all along. The need for approval. My friends, the fourth burden you must release, if you are to live in freedom, is the need for approval. There is no chain heavier than the one that ties your worth to the opinions of others. How many of you have delayed your dreams because you were waiting for permission? How many have silenced your voice because you were afraid of judgment? How many choices have you made? Not because they were true to your spirit, but because they kept others comfortable. The need for approval is subtle. It feels harmless at first. Just wanting to be liked. Just wanting to belong. Just wanting a nod from someone you respect. But soon it grows, and before long your life is not your own. You are no longer living for your vision, you are living for their applause. But hear me, the approval of others is unstable. Today they cheer, tomorrow they criticize. Today they lift you up, tomorrow they turn away. If your identity depends on their approval, you will forever be at the mercy of their shifting mood. And let me tell you this, no great life was ever built on pleasing everyone. Every great voice, every great leader, every great creator stood at some point in the storm of criticism. They were doubted, mocked, misunderstood. But they did not stop. They did not surrender their purpose in exchange for applause. The truth is, the need for approval will shrink your life. It will keep you from taking risks. It will silence your boldest ideas. It will trap you in a prison of what will they think. And while you are busy asking that question, your destiny waits untouched. So how do you break free? First, recognize that approval is temporary. Even if you gain it, it will not last. You cannot hold it in your hands. You cannot build your future on it. It is like chasing the wind. It will always slip away. Second, ask yourself this. Whose approval are you really chasing? Often it is not the approval of the world, but of a few voices from your past. Perhaps a parent who never said, "I'm proud of you." Perhaps a teacher who once dismissed you. Perhaps a friend who doubted you. And without realizing it, you've spent years trying to prove them wrong. Or worse, trying to finally make them smile. But listen carefully. You do not need their approval to be whole. You do not need their recognition to rise. Third, shift your focus inward. Instead of asking, do they approve? Ask, do I approve of myself? Am I being true to my calling? Am I honoring my own values? Because when you live with integrity to your spirit, your life becomes unshakable. You will stand tall, even if no one claps. And here is the paradox. When you no longer seek approval, you gain respect. People are drawn to those who stand firm in who they are. They may not always agree with you, but they cannot deny the power of authenticity. Now, I will not pretend this is easy. The need for approval runs deep, because humans long to belong. But belonging is not the same as approval. Approval says, change yourself to fit me. Belonging says, come as you are. And the right people, the ones meant for your life, will never demand you shrink to be accepted. Think of the eagle. The eagle does not ask the sparrows, is it all right if I fly higher? The eagle does not beg for permission to soar. It rises because rising is its nature. And in rising, it finds its kind. So it is with you. Stop begging the sparrows for permission to be an eagle. Stop waiting for applause before you take flight. If your wings were given to you, they were meant to be used. Some of you are holding back your voice because you are afraid of being misunderstood. But listen to me. Being misunderstood is not failure. It is proof that you are speaking in your own tone, walking in your own rhythm. The world may not recognize it yet, but that is because it is new, it is rare, it is yours. The need for approval will always tempt you. Will whisper, stay safe, don't offend, keep quiet, don't be different. But if you obey that whisper, you will betray yourself. And nothing is more painful than betraying your own soul just to keep others comfortable. So tonight I challenge you. Stop asking for permission. Stop waiting for applause. Stop bending your light so it does not blind another. Stand in the fullness of who you are. Approve of yourself. And let that be enough. And remember this. Those who are meant to walk with you will not require you to shrink. They will celebrate your strength. They will honor your truth. The rest will fall away. And that is not a loss, but a blessing. My friends, the moment you release the need for approval, you become unstoppable. No opinion can sway you. No criticism can break you. No silence can weaken you, because your worth will no longer live in their mouths. It will live in your heart. So rise tonight. Stand tall without apology. Do not ask, do they approve? Ask, am I true? And if the answer is yes, then walk bold, release the need for approval. And you will discover a freedom deeper than applause. A freedom that lasts. A freedom that cannot be taken. A freedom that will carry you into the life you were born to live. 5 excuses. My friends, the 5th obstacle that must be eliminated from your life is excuses. Excuses are the quiet killers of destiny. They sound reasonable. They sound harmless. But behind every excuse lies a dream left undone. A purpose left unfulfilled. A life lived smaller than it was meant to be. An excuse is nothing more than a story you tell yourself to make peace with inaction. I can't because I'm too young. I can't because I'm too old. I can't because I don't have enough time, enough money, enough support. And so you wait. And while you wait, life moves forward without you. Excuses feel safe because they protect you from risk. If you never try, you never fail. If you never step forward, you never stumble. But let me ask you, is safety worth the price of your purpose? Is comfort worth the cost of your calling? Excuses may shield you from failure, but they also shield you from success. They may keep you from the pain of disappointment, but they also keep you from the joy of accomplishment. And here is the truth. The excuse will always seem convincing. If you look for a reason not to act, you will always find one. The question is not whether excuses exist. The question is whether you will continue to obey them. Think of a person standing before a locked door. They say, I cannot open it because I have no key. But the truth is the door was never locked. It only needed to be pushed. Excuses are like that illusion of a locked door. They make you believe the way forward is impossible, when in reality it is waiting for you to act. Now some of you may say, but my situation is different. I truly do not have the resources, the connections, the opportunities. And I will tell you this. Every person who ever accomplished anything began with less than they thought they needed. They did not wait until the conditions were perfect. They began with what they had. And in beginning they discovered more. Excuses say, I will act when I have enough. But life answers, you will have enough when you act. So how do we eliminate excuses? First, stop making them sound noble. Excuses often wear disguises. I am waiting for the right time. I am being practical. I am protecting others. These may sound wise, but if they keep you from moving forward, they are excuses dressed as logic. Strip away the disguise. Be honest with yourself. Is this truly wisdom or is it fear? Second, take responsibility. Excuses are a way of shifting blame onto circumstances, onto other people, onto timing. But responsibility is the key to freedom. The moment you say, I am responsible for my life, the excuses lose power. Because if you are responsible, you are also capable. Third, take small action. Excuses often thrive in the face of big dreams. The vision seems too large, too distant. And so you say, I can't. But when you break the vision into steps and take one step today, the excuse has no ground to stand on. The smallest action is stronger than the greatest excuse. And finally, change your language. Excuses begin in your words. I can't. I don't. I won't. Replace them with I can. I will. I must. Words shape belief, and belief shapes action. Speak power into yourself, and excuses will wither. Let me give you this example. Imagine a person who says, I cannot run because I am not strong enough, and so they never run. But if they were to begin walking, one day at a time, their strength would grow. In time, they would run with ease. The excuse was not truth. It was a choice. And isn't it the same with your dream? You say, I cannot write because I am not talented. But talent is born of practice. You say, I cannot lead because no one follows me. But leadership is proven in action, not in waiting. You say, I cannot succeed because the world is against me. But every person who changed the world did so in the face of opposition. The difference between those who live their vision and those who do not is not opportunity. It is responsibility. One says, I will find a way. The other says, I cannot because, and only one rises. Now let us be clear. Life is not without real obstacles. There will be struggles, setbacks, delays. But there is a difference between an obstacle and an excuse. An obstacle is something you face on the way forward. An excuse is something you use to avoid moving at all. The obstacle can be overcome. The excuse keeps you from even trying. So tonight I challenge you to silence the excuses in your life. No longer say, I cannot because. Say instead, I will because I must. Stop waiting for perfect conditions. They will never come. Stop waiting for everyone to believe in you. They may never do so. Stop waiting for the fear to disappear. It may always whisper. Move anyway. Excuses keep you bound to the life you have. Responsibility sets you free to create the life you desire. My friends, the day you eliminate excuses is the day you take back your power. No more blaming the past. No more waiting on luck. No more pointing to others. From that moment forward, your life becomes your choice. And there is no greater power than that. So tonight, make this decision. No more excuses. Rise up. Act boldly. Speak clearly. Move forward. Take responsibility. And watch as life itself begins to respond to your courage. For excuses are the language of limitation. But action is the language of freedom. Choose freedom. Choose action. Choose today. Fix fear of failure. My friends, the sixth weight that must be lifted from your life is the fear of failure. Failure, it is a word that has been used to paralyze more dreams than defeat itself. For most people do not fall because they tried and lost. They fall because they never tried at all. They let the fear of failure stop them before they ever began. And yet, what is failure? Is it not the stepping stone to success? Is it not the teacher of lessons that no book, no lecture, no second-hand advice could ever give you? But the fear of failure twists your vision. It makes you see failure not as a teacher, but as a threat. It tells you if you fail, you will be embarrassed. If you fail, you will be rejected. If you fail, you will prove you were never good enough. And so you sit still. You hold back. You shrink from your own destiny. But listen to me. Failure is not your enemy. Fear is every person you admire. Every great name etched into history. Every innovator, every leader, every artist, every single one of them has failed. Not once, not twice, many times. And yet they refused to bow to fear. They understood that failure was part of the path. Thomas Edison tested thousands of times before the light bulb came alive. Did he call himself a failure? No, he said. I have not failed. I have only found ways that do not work. Each setback was not defeat, but discovery. And is it not the same in your life? Each time you stumble, you learn something about yourself, about your strength, about the world around you. Failure is not the end of the road. It is the bending of the road. If you keep walking, you will arrive. But fear whispers, what if you try and it does not work? Let me ask you instead, what if you never try and it could have worked? Which pain is heavier? The pain of falling, or the pain of never knowing what could have been? The truth is this, you will fail, not once, not twice, but many times. And that is not tragedy. That is training. Each failure refines you, humbles you, strengthens you. Each failure brings you closer to mastery. Think of the child learning to walk. They fall again and again. Yet no one looks at the child and says, you are a failure. Why? Because we all know the falling is part of the process. So why, when we grow older, do we judge ourselves so harshly for the same? Are we not still learning to walk? This time in business, in love, in purpose. Failure only becomes final when you stop rising. The fall is not the problem. The refusal to rise is. So how do you overcome the fear of failure? First, you must redefine it. Stop calling it failure. Call it feedback. Call it progress. Call it growth. When you change the meaning, you change the power it holds over you. Second, expose it. Write down your fears. If I try this, I may lose money. If I try this, I may look foolish. If I try this, people may laugh. And then ask yourself, so what? Will the world end? Will I cease to exist? No, you will rise. You will adjust. You will try again. When fear is named, it loses its shadow. Third, practice courage. Courage is not the absence of fear. It is the decision to move in spite of fear. Each time you act, fear grows smaller. Each time you take the step, fear loses its voice. And finally, remember this. Failure is proof that you are in motion. Those who never fail are those who never move. If you are failing, it means you are stretching, reaching, daring, and that alone is victory. Let me tell you, the greatest failure in life is not falling short. The greatest failure is never showing up, never writing the book, never starting the business, never saying the words, never living the dream. That is the only true defeat. So tonight I urge you, do not bow to the fear of failure. Step forward boldly. Yes, you may fall. Yes, you may stumble. But every stumble carries a lesson. Every fall strengthens your foundation. And in time, you will rise so high that the very failures you once feared will be the stories that inspire others. Remember this truth. The fear of failure is an illusion. Failure does not define you. It refines you. It does not end you. It grows you. And every so-called failure is only one step closer to the life you were meant to live. My friends, the only way to never fail is to never live. But you were not created to play small, to hide in safety, to cling to comfort. You were created to create, to build, to rise, to shine. So tonight, release the fear, eliminate it quietly but completely. And when the voice comes again, as it surely will, answer it with this: I would rather fail chasing my vision than succeed in denying it. For in that moment, fear has no power. In that moment, you are free. 7. Negative self-talk. My friends, the seventh chain you must quietly release from your life is negative self-talk. You see, no enemy has ever been more destructive to human potential than the voice within. The voice that whispers, you cannot, you are not, you will not. The critics outside may wound you, but it is the critic inside that can keep you imprisoned for a lifetime. Think about it. Every day, countless thoughts move through your mind. Some lift you higher, some drag you down. And the tragedy is this: most people allow the most destructive thoughts to sit on the throne of their mind, ruling their life in silence. Negative self-talk is the invisible thief of destiny. It robs you of courage before you even step onto the stage. It steals your joy before you even receive the blessing. It poisons your confidence before you even take the first step. And yet here is the truth. Those words are not truth. They are not law. They are not final. They are echoes of past disappointments, echoes of other people's opinions, echoes of fears you inherited but never questioned. But you must question them. You must confront the inner dialogue that tells you, I am not good enough. I am not smart enough. I am too late. I am too weak. Because when you believe those lies, you shrink your entire life to the size of your self-doubt. Let me ask you, if a stranger followed you all day long, whispering into your ear, you are worthless, you are powerless, you cannot succeed, would you allow it? Of course not. You would demand they leave. You would not tolerate it for a moment. And yet many tolerate that very voice in their own head day after day. You must not. So how do you eliminate negative self-talk? First, recognize it. Awareness is the beginning of transformation. Begin to listen closely to the words you say to yourself. Do not judge. Simply notice. Notice how often you sabotage your own joy with sentences like, I always mess things up. Nothing ever works for me. I'll never change. When you hear it, stop. Do not allow the lie to pass unchecked. Speak to it as you would speak to a liar. No, that is not true. That is not who I am. Second, replace it. Do not fight darkness with more darkness. You drive it away with light. Replace every lie with truth. If the voice says, I cannot, answer, I can. If it says, I am weak, respond, I am strong. If it says, I am worthless, declare, I am valuable beyond measure. Some will say, but I do not feel it. I do not believe it yet. And I tell you, that does not matter. Speak it until it becomes alive in you. Your words shape your world. What you speak consistently you begin to believe. And what you believe consistently, you begin to live. Third, reframe it. When negative self-talk arises, do not see it as a curse. See it as a signal. It is pointing to an area where healing must happen, where growth is waiting. If you constantly hear, I am not enough, then that is the very place where you must begin declaring, I am more than enough. The voice reveals the wound, and the wound reveals the word. Fourth, silence it through action. The inner critic is loudest when you are still. But once you begin moving, once you begin taking steps, its voice begins to weaken. You see, confidence is not born from thought alone. Confidence is born from proof. Proof that you can. Proof that you will. Proof that you already are. And every small victory, every act of courage, becomes another stone you place over the mouth of that critic, until one day it is no longer heard. Now let me tell you a secret. The voice in your head will never fully disappear. It will whisper from time to time, but when it does, you will be ready. You will no longer mistake it for truth. You will no longer bow to it as master. You will hear it, smile, and walk forward anyway. Because in that moment, you understand, the voice is not you. The voice is fear. The voice is doubt. The voice is the shadow of old wounds. But you are the light. Remember this. You cannot think defeat and live victory. You cannot speak lack and live abundance. You cannot repeat weakness and live strength. If you want to change your life, you must first change your inner conversation. Some of you have been waiting for years for your life to change, not realizing that the first battlefield is in your own mind. The words you speak to yourself every day are building your future or burying it. So tonight I invite you, shift the dialogue. Become your own encourager. Speak to yourself as you would to someone you deeply love. Instead of I can't, tell yourself, I am capable. Instead of I'll never, say, I am on my way. Instead of it's impossible, declare, with persistence, it will be done. This is not pretending. This is not self-deception. This is reclaiming the truth that has always been yours. For the deepest truth is this. You are not the negative voice in your head. You are the one who hears it. You are the awareness behind it. You are the strength that can rise above it. And when you choose to silence that destructive inner dialogue, you open the gates of possibility. Your energy rises, your confidence grows, your actions expand, and soon, the life that seemed out of reach begins to move toward you, because you finally stopped standing in your own way. So let this be the night you decide, no more negative self-talk, no more inner sabotage. From this day forward, speak life, not death. Speak strength, not weakness. Speak faith, not fear. And when you do, you will see your outer world begins to mirror your inner words. For as you speak, so you become. And as you become, so your life unfolds. So my friends, eliminate the voice of self-doubt. Replace it with the voice of self-belief. And walk boldly into the life that has been waiting for you all along. For the greatest power you hold is not in what others say about you. It is in what you say to yourself. 8. Comparison to others. My friends, the 8th thing you must quietly eliminate from your life is comparison. Comparison is a thief. It steals your joy. It steals your gratitude. It steals your vision. And yet countless people live every single day under its shadow. They scroll through their phones and see someone else's highlight reel and whisper to themselves, why not me? Why am I not there yet? Why do they have what I do not? They look across the street, across the office, across the classroom, and in a quiet voice inside, they measure their worth against another's image. But hear me tonight. Comparison is a false ruler. It is a measuring stick that has no truth in it. For your path is not their path. Your story is not their story. Your calling is not their calling. When you compare yourself to another, you step out of your own lane and stumble on ground that was never meant for your feet. Think about it. Have you ever planted 2 seeds side by side in the soil? One may sprout in days, the other may take weeks. One may grow tall, the other wide. Would you ever stand above them and say, this one is better, that one is worse? No. Each seed carries its own timing, its own unfolding, its own destiny. And so it is with you. Comparison blinds you to your own gift. It convinces you that what you have is too small, too ordinary. Too late. And when you believe that, you miss the miracle of what is already in your hands. But here is the deeper truth. Comparison is born from forgetfulness. You forget who you are. You forget what you carry. You forget that your worth was written into you before you even breathed your first breath. Let me tell you, there will always be someone who seems ahead of you. There will always be someone who looks stronger, richer, smarter, or more accomplished. But that does not diminish you. Their light does not dim your own. The sun does not argue with the moon. The river does not envy the mountain. Each fulfills its own purpose in its own time. So I ask you, why diminish yourself by living in someone else's shadow? Now some of you may think, but comparison motivates me. When I see what others have, I want to push harder. That may sound noble, but it is poison wrapped in ambition. Because if you climb from comparison, you will never arrive. You will reach one mountain peak only to see another, and another, and another. And soon you will spend your life chasing, but never arriving. Real growth does not come from looking sideways. It comes from looking inward. So how do we silence comparison? First, acknowledge it. Do not deny it. When you feel that sharp sting of envy, do not pretend it is not there. Recognize it for what it is. A signal. Not of lack, but of longing. Comparison reveals what you desire most. If you envy the artist, perhaps you long to create. If you envy the entrepreneur, perhaps you long to build. If you envy the traveler, perhaps you long for freedom. Do not stop at envy. Look deeper. Ask yourself, what does this show me about my own soul's desire? Then instead of resenting, let it awaken you. Second, shift the focus. Instead of saying, why them and not me? Say, if it is possible for them, it is possible for me. The presence of their success is proof that such a thing can be done. Their story does not exclude you. It invites you. Third, practice gratitude. Nothing dissolves comparison faster than gratitude. Begin to look at what is already in your hands, in your life, in your heart. Do not despise the small beginnings, for the seed you honor is the seed that grows. Fourth, commit to your own lane. Write your own vision. Define your own measure of success. For what use is it if you win the race that was never yours to run? Imagine standing at the end of your life and realizing you spent it chasing another man's dream, another woman's calling. No, you must run the course designed for you. Comparison is a trap because it keeps your eyes outward when they should be inward. Your greatest treasure is not in what others have. It is in what you already carry. I want you to remember this. You are incomparable, not greater, not lesser, simply incomparable. Just as no snowflake repeats, no fingerprint repeats, no star repeats, so you do not repeat. The measure of your life cannot be taken against another, because no other life is identical to yours. So tonight, lay down the ruler, lay down the measuring tape. Stop scrolling through the lives of others as if they are the standard for your worth. Your worth was set before the foundations of the earth. Nothing added, nothing removed can change it. Instead of asking, am I ahead of them? Ask, am I faithful to myself? Instead of asking, am I as good as they are? Ask, am I becoming all that I can be? For when you live in alignment with your own truth, comparison loses its grip. You no longer need to outshine anyone else because your life was never meant to be compared. It was meant to be shared. And here is the beauty. Once you stop comparing, you can finally celebrate others. Their victories no longer threaten you because you know there is room for all. Their rise no longer diminishes you because you know the same source of abundance flows through you as well. Imagine the freedom of walking into a room and not once thinking about how you measure up, but only about how you can give, how you can serve, how you can shine. That is the freedom waiting on the other side of comparison. So my friends, eliminate the habit of measuring yourself against others. Celebrate their path, but walk your own. Learn from their victories, but do not envy them. Let their success be a mirror of possibility, not a chain of insecurity. And most of all, remember that the only true comparison is between who you were yesterday and who you are today. If you are growing, if you are evolving, if you are becoming more of who you were meant to be, then you are already winning. So tonight, let the chains of comparison fall. Walk boldly in your own lane. Shine with your own light, and trust that in your time, in your way, your destiny will unfold in brilliance. For your story is not theirs, and theirs is not yours. You are a one-of-a-kind expression of infinite possibility, and that, my friends, is more than enough. 9. Overcommitment and busyness. My friends, the ninth thing you must quietly eliminate from your life is overcommitment. The endless busyness that robs you of your true focus. We live in a world that worships busyness. People wear exhaustion like a badge of honor. They boast about how little sleep they got, how many meetings they had, how many projects they are juggling. And yet behind that mask of productivity often lies emptiness, frustration, and fatigue. Hear me well tonight. Busyness is not the same as fruitfulness. Movement is not the same as progress. Activity is not the same as achievement. You can spend your entire life running on the wheel of busyness and yet go nowhere. Like a hamster spinning endlessly, you can exhaust yourself without ever stepping forward into your true destiny. Overcommitment is dangerous because it spreads your energy thin. Instead of being powerful in one direction, you are pulled in 10 directions at once. Instead of being excellent at what matters most, you become average at everything. And deep down, you feel the fracture. You know you are giving little pieces of yourself away to things that do not matter. Busyness unchecked will rob you of clarity. It will silence the inner voice of guidance. It will keep you so distracted with noise that you cannot hear the whispers of wisdom. Why do we overcommit? Because deep down, many are afraid of saying no, afraid of disappointing others, afraid of missing out, afraid of being left behind. So they say yes. Yes, yes, until their lives are overflowing with obligations that drain instead of nourish. But I tell you tonight, every time you say yes to one thing, you are saying no to another. When you say yes to everyone else's demands, you may be saying no to your own vision. When you say yes to endless distraction, you may be saying no to your destiny. Let me give you an image. Imagine holding a glass jar. Inside you must fit rocks, pebbles, and sand. If you fill the jar first with sand, there will be no room for the rocks. But if you place the rocks in first, the big things that truly matter, then the pebbles and sand will find their place around them. Life is the same. If you let busyness fill your days, the big things, your calling, your health, your relationships, your inner growth, will be squeezed out. But if you set the big things first, the rest will find its place. Eliminating overcommitment begins with clarity. You must ask yourself, what are my rocks? What matters most? What is essential and what is noise? Some of you have been carrying commitments that do not belong to you. You said yes years ago, and now you are chained by obligations that no longer align with your soul. Some of you have calendars so packed that you cannot even breathe, let alone dream. Some of you are running so fast that you have forgotten where you are even going. But tonight, I give you permission to pause, to breathe, to reevaluate, to say no without guilt. And yes, with intention. You were not created to do everything. You were created to do what matters. And here is the paradox. When you stop trying to do it all, you actually become more fruitful. When you focus on the few things that truly align with your purpose, you multiply your impact. A magnifying glass can scatter sunlight across a page and do nothing, but focus that same light and it will set fire. That is the power of focus. So how do we break free from overcommitment? First, you must learn the discipline of no. No is not a rejection. It is a protection. It protects your time, your energy, your vision. Every no you speak to what does not matter makes room for a bigger yes to what does. Second, choose rest as a weapon. Rest is not laziness. Rest is preparation. Rest sharpens your mind, strengthens your spirit, and renews your creativity. Some of you are tired not because you are weak, but because you have never stopped running. Rest is not wasted time. It is an investment into your longevity. Third, simplify. Look at your commitments and ask, does this serve me? Does this align with who I am becoming? If not, release it. Let it go. Fourth, be intentional with your time. Do not let the urgent crowd out the important. Every day, choose one thing that truly matters and give it your best. If you accomplish that, you are already victorious. Overcommitment will whisper lies. If you slow down, you will fall behind. If you say no, they will be disappointed. If you rest, you will lose your edge. But those are lies designed to keep you running in circles. The truth is this: slowing down allows you to speed up in the right direction. Saying no allows you to say yes to your destiny. Resting allows you to rise stronger. The busyness of this world will try to convince you that your worth is measured by your schedule, that the more packed your calendar, the more valuable you are. But your worth is not in your hours. Your worth is not in your titles. Your worth is not in how much you do. Your worth is in your being. So tonight I challenge you. Stop scattering your energy. Stop trying to be everything to everyone. Stop living as if your value comes from busyness. Choose instead to focus, to simplify, to rest, to protect your energy like the sacred treasure it is. When you do, you will find your life taking shape in new ways. You will no longer feel fractured, but whole. No longer pulled in every direction, but moving powerfully in one. No longer exhausted, but energy. Imagine a life where you wake with clarity, where your schedule reflects your soul, where your time is spent not on endless noise but on what truly matters. That life is possible, but only when you release overcommitment and busyness. So tonight let us lay down the addiction to busy. Let us step away from the false pride of exhaustion. Let us eliminate the noise and embrace the focus. For the world does not need another busy soul. The world needs a clear, focused, rested, and powerful you. Eliminate overcommitment. Eliminate busyness. And in that sacred space you will discover the strength to live fully aligned with your purpose. 10. Holding grudges and resentment. My beloved friends, the 10th and final thing you must quietly eliminate from your life is the poison of grudges and resentment. There is no heavier burden you can carry than bitterness. It clings to your soul. It weighs down your spirit. It clouds your mind. And it poisons your joy. You cannot rise high while chained to anger. You cannot move forward while constantly looking back. A grudge is like drinking poison and waiting for the other person to die. It is self-destruction disguised as self-protection. It whispers, I am keeping this wound so I can remember, so I can be safe, so I can punish them with my silence. But the truth is you are punishing yourself far more than anyone else. Resentment is a thief. It steals your peace. It steals your clarity. It steals your ability to love freely and live fully. It does not punish the offender. It imprisons the one who holds it. Now do not misunderstand me. Forgiveness does not mean you condone what was done. Forgiveness does not mean you invite harmful people back into your life. Forgiveness does not erase accountability. Forgiveness is not weakness. Forgiveness is freedom. Forgiveness is the release of your soul from the grip of resentment. It is saying, I will not allow your actions to define my spirit any longer. I will not let this wound control my destiny. I choose peace over poison. I choose freedom over chains. When you refuse to forgive, you stay bound to the past. You keep the door of yesterday open, and you let the pain of what was bleed into the promise of what is. How can you step into a bright tomorrow if you are dragging the shadows of yesterday behind you? Some of you here tonight are carrying grudges from years ago. Someone betrayed you. Someone abandoned you. Someone spoke words that wounded your soul, and though the moment has long passed, you have kept it alive in your mind. You replay it, rehearse it, relive it. Every time you recall it, you open the wound again. And here is the truth. You cannot heal what you refuse to release. Imagine for a moment a person walking through life with a backpack. Inside the backpack are heavy stones, each one representing a grudge, a resentment, an offense never forgiven. With every year, more stones are added. The weight grows heavier and heavier until finally, the person can barely stand. They move slowly, burdened not by life itself, but by what they refuse to let go. That is what happens when you carry grudges. You burden your own journey. You weigh down your own destiny. But what happens when you choose to forgive? The stones begin to fall away. The load becomes lighter. Suddenly, you are free to move, to run, to soar. You discover energy you never knew you had. Joy you thought was lost. Peace that feels like fresh water for a thirsty soul. Now some of you might be thinking, but they don't deserve my forgiveness. They never apologized. They never changed. They never admitted what they did. Hear me. Forgiveness is not about them. Forgiveness is about you. You do not forgive because they deserve it. You forgive because you deserve peace. You forgive because your soul is too precious to stay bound to bitterness. Every time you hold on to resentment, you give your power away. You let another person's actions dictate your emotion. But when you release, you reclaim your power. You take back ownership of your heart. And let me tell you something powerful. Forgiveness is not always a one-time act. Sometimes it is a process. Sometimes you must forgive again and again until the sting is gone, until the memory loses its grip. That is not weakness. That is perseverance. Forgiveness does not erase your wisdom. You can forgive and still set boundaries. You can forgive and still say, I will not allow that behavior in my life again. Forgiveness is not returning to the prison. It is walking free and locking the gate behind you. So, how do we step into forgiveness? First, you must decide. Forgiveness is not a feeling, it is a choice. If you wait to feel like forgiving, you may wait forever. But when you choose it, even if your heart trembles, the healing begins. Second, speak it. Declare, I release them. I release the grip of this wound. I release myself from this chain. Words have power, and when you speak forgiveness, you cut ties with resentment. Third, redirect your focus. Instead of rehearsing the pain, focus on your future. Instead of replaying what they did, rehearse what you are becoming. Shift your gaze from the wound to the vision. Fourth, embrace compassion. Sometimes those who wounded you were themselves hurt people. Hurt people, that does not excuse their actions, but it does free you from taking their behavior as a reflection of your worth. Friends, when you release resentment, you open space for love. When you forgive, you create room for joy. When you let go, you make space for destiny. Think of it this way. Your heart is a garden. Resentment is a weed that chokes the flowers of peace and purpose. Forgiveness is pulling out that weed so the garden can flourish again. Some of you tonight have been waiting for closure, waiting for the apology that never came. But closure does not come from them. Closure comes from within you. It comes when you say, I will not let this own me any longer. I am free. And here is the final truth. Forgiveness is one of the most radical acts of power. Anyone can hate. Anyone can stay bitter. But to forgive, that takes strength. That is power. That is rising above. So tonight I call you to lay it down. Whatever stone you've been carrying, set it at your feet. Whatever name, whatever face, whatever wound still lingers, release it. Say to yourself, I choose peace. I choose freedom. I choose to let it go. For when you forgive, you do not lose, you gain. You gain your joy. You gain your energy. You gain your future. And this is how you eliminate the final chain. The chain of grudges and resentment. By doing so, you step fully into your power, unburdened, unchained, and unstoppable. 11. Doubting yourself. My friends, we arrive at the 11th and final thing you must eliminate quietly from your life. Self-doubt. This is the most subtle thief of all, for it does not come in the voice of another. It comes in your own voice. It whispers inside your mind when no one else is speaking. It questions your worth, your ability, your power. It asks, who are you to dream so big? Who are you to rise so high? Who are you to believe you can create a new life? And because the voice sounds like your own, you believe it, you feed it, you obey it, and you shrink. Self-doubt is the silent assassin of destiny. It kills more dreams than failure ever could, because failure is not final. Failure is only feedback. Failure can teach you, grow you, strengthen you, but self-doubt prevents you from even trying. It stops the journey before it begins. Think for a moment how many times in your life you've stepped back from the edge of possibility, not because the door was closed, but because you doubted your ability to walk through it. Think of how many opportunities you have let slip, not because you were unworthy, but because you believed the lie that you were. Doubt builds walls where there are none. It places chains on hands that are free. It convinces a giant that he is small, a lion that he is weak, a star that it was never meant to shine. But hear me tonight. You were not created to live in the shadow of doubt. You were created to live in the light of confidence. Confidence is not arrogant. Confidence is not shouting louder than others or pretending to be more than you are. Confidence is quiet strength. Confidence is inner knowing. Confidence is standing in the truth of who you are, refusing to bow to the lies of fear. You see, self-doubt will always come knocking, but you do not have to open the door. You do not have to invite it in, serve it dinner, and let it live rent-free in your mind. You can choose to silence it. How? First, recognize it for what it is. A liar. Doubt is not truth. Doubt is a voice born of fear. And fear is imagination misused. The same imagination that can picture your failure, can picture your victory. The same energy you give to worrying can be given to believing. Second, Speak truth over yourself. Words have power. Stop rehearsing your weakness and start declaring your strength. Instead of saying, I can't, say, I can. Instead of saying, I'm not enough, say, I am more than enough. Your mind believes what you tell it consistently. Train it to believe in your greatness. Third, act. Action is the antidote to doubt. The moment you step forward, doubt begins to weaken. The longer you wait, the stronger it grows. Doubt thrives in stillness, but it shrinks in movement. Even a small step shouts louder than the voice of fear. Fourth, remember your victory. Too often we remember our failures and forget our triumphs. But every person here has overcome something. Every person here has a story of resilience. Recall those moments. Let them remind you of your strength. If you did it before, you can do it again. Fifth, surround yourself with faith. Do not walk among those who constantly speak doubt, for their fear will infect your spirit. Stand with those who believe, those who lift, those who see the greatness within you even when you struggle to see it yourself. Friends, doubt will tell you to play small, but you were not born for smallness. You were born for expansion, for growth, for creation. You were born to bring something unique into this world that no one else can bring. Think of this. Every great accomplishment in history was once impossible until someone believed. The inventions, the discoveries, the revolutions, the breakthroughs, each one began with a mind that refused to bow to doubt. Someone dared to say, why not me? Why not now? Why not here? And you too can say the same. When you silence doubt, you unlock courage. And courage is not the absence of fear. It is the decision that fear will not control you. Courage is action in the face of doubt. Imagine for a moment your life without self-doubt. Imagine waking each day with confidence in your step, clarity in your mind, and boldness in your vision. Imagine the risks you would take, the dreams you would pursue, the doors you would knock on, the heights you would climb. That life is not fantasy. It is possible. It begins with the quiet elimination of self-doubt. Now let me remind you, doubt will always attempt to return. You may silence it today, and tomorrow it whispers again. But this is the work to silence it every time, until its voice grows faint, until it becomes background noise you barely notice. And when doubt says you can't, you will answer, watch me. When doubt says you're not enough, you will declare, I am more than enough. When doubt says this dream is too big, you will smile and say, perfect. Because greatness is not born in certainty. It is born in courage. Greatness is not achieved by those who never feel doubt. It is achieved by those who refuse to bow to it. So tonight I call you to eliminate the final chain. Step out of the prison of self-doubt and into the wide horizon of self-belief. Let your life become a testimony, not of what fear can steal, but of what faith can create. The world is waiting for the fullness of who you are. Your dreams are waiting. Your future is waiting. The only thing standing in the way is the lie of doubt. And once you let it go, there is nothing that can stop you. So rise, believe, create, become. This is the power of eliminating self-doubt. This is the freedom of step 11. The grand finale. The power of elimination. My friends, tonight we have walked through 11 steps. 11 chains that silently hold humanity back. One by one, we have broken them. We have looked at fear, comparison, resentment, procrastination, toxic relationships, excuses, negative self-talk, the addiction to approval, the noise of the world, overthinking, and finally, self-doubt. And in each step, there was a single theme, the truth that you are already free. You were born free. The chains were never stronger than your will. They only bound you because you believed they could. But now, imagine yourself standing here, no longer carrying the baggage of those 11 weights. Imagine how light you feel without fear whispering in your ear. Imagine how clear you feel without comparison clouding your vision. Imagine how strong you feel without resentment poisoning your heart. Imagine how bold you feel without doubt cutting your dreams short. You are free. You have always been free. Tonight you claim that freedom, but let me tell you something. Freedom is not just the absence of chains. Freedom is the presence of purpose. It is the ability to create, to expand, to live fully. It is the power to imagine something greater for your life and to bring it into reality. You see, the world has trained you to hold on to things that do not serve you, to hold on to fear as if it protects you, to hold on to resentment as if it justifies you, to hold on to doubt as if it humbles you. But these are illusions. And when you let them go, you do not lose, you gain clarity, you gain strength, you gain vision, you gain power. And what will you do with that power? That is the question that matters now. Because eliminating these 11 things is not the end. It is the beginning. It is the clearing of the soil so you can plant new seeds. It is the tearing down of the old house so you can build a greater one. It is the closing of a chapter so you can write the story you were meant to live. So I ask you, what will you create? Will you create love where fear once lived? Will you create gratitude where resentment once festered? Will you create bold action where procrastination once delayed you? Will you create authentic living where the hunger for approval once ruled you? Will you create peace where noise once consumed you? Will you create faith where self-doubt once weakened you? This is the invitation of your life. This is the reason you are here. And do not underestimate it. Do not tell yourself that your life is small, that your choices don't matter, that your influence is limited. That is the lie of doubt returning once again. No, your life matters. Your presence matters. Your creation matters. For every life you touch, touches another. Every act of courage sparks another. Every dream fulfilled awakens another. You are not an isolated being. You are a chain reaction of possibility. Look around you. Every breakthrough in human history was the result of someone who dared to let go of the 11 things that hold us back. Someone dared to release fear. Someone dared to silence doubt. Someone dared to move forward. Not because they were certain, but because they were willing. And now it is your turn. Do not leave this moment unchanged. Do not walk back into the world carrying the same burdens you carried before. Leave them here. Leave fear. Leave resentment. Leave doubt. Leave the noise. Walk lighter. Walk freer. Walk true. For the rest of your life, the 11 voices will try to return. They will whisper again. But now you will know. You will know that they are not truth. You will know that they are not you. You will know that you can silence them with a choice. And when you silence them, something greater will speak. That greater voice is within you now. It is the voice of your higher self. The voice of your true identity. The voice that has always been waiting beneath the noise. That voice says, you are powerful. You are worthy. You are enough. You are free. So let this be the moment of decision. The moment you rise. The moment you step into the fullness of who you are. Do not wait another day, another hour, another moment. The world does not need you tomorrow. The world needs you now. The world needs your courage, your vision, your love, your creation. The world needs you free. 11 things eliminated. 11 chains broken. 11 lies destroyed. And now there is only one truth left. You are limitless. So rise into that truth. Live it. Walk it. Breathe it. Be it. And let your life be the proof.